What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Requiem for Tuesday. I'm your host, Adam Pecora, coming to you, as always, at least once a month. Apologize for the sporadic scheduling, but as mentioned previously, that just is what it is now. There are a lot of movies coming out very soon, so we'll see. Schedule might get a little more frequent in the coming weeks here, but it is what it is. Rate, review, and subscribe. Maybe that'll get me back to more consistent if we get those numbies up. But if we don't, that's fine. Do it for the love of the game. That's what I always say. Check out all the links in the description below. Got lots of good stuff. There's music. I got some, little dancey stuff. Will effects. Like 95% instrumental. Multiplex with the chef. Frequent guest of the show, Justice. We make some weird noises, and you might like that too. That has his illustrious vocal talents. I got a Substack. So far, still only one thing up. That is truly a marathon, not a sprint. I'll be writing something up shortly. We'll see what it is. I don't know. So yeah, lots of good. There's more. Check it all out. It's all there. All right. Jurassic World Rebirth. This is just a prime example of exactly what is wrong with modern movie making. They're rebooting Jurassic World, which was a legacy sequel to begin with. I'll start off before that, actually, a little preface here. I've never seen any of the Jurassic World movies. From what I gather, the first one's all right, and then I think there's two more, and they're both terrible, increasingly so. That's unfortunate. Whatever. I was born slightly after the original movie came out, so I don't really get the magic. I do get the magic of Terminator 2 for some reason. They're similar, but Jurassic Park's like good. I'm just not a big Spielberg guy. I'm aware that that's absurd. I like many of his films. Namely Indy. That's when I'm all in on Indy. Don't get me wrong. But other than that, it's just like, oh, that was really good. I'm not going to try to say here that he's like not good at it. He's obviously one of the greatest to ever do it from a technical perspective. They're just not my kind of movies, I guess you could say. But I haven't, I'm pretty spotty in his filmography either way. Point being, Jurassic Park, like you look at the list of all the hits and like the legendary stuff, it's just unbelievable. Let me put that out there as well. I get it. To that degree. But none of them are in my favorites other than Indy. We're putting Indy aside. Look, Jurassic Park is great, incredibly well constructed. I know all the beats. I know what happens, and I haven't even seen it that many times. It's great. It's, again, just not a huge favorite. I don't think I ever saw The Lost World. I certainly never saw Jurassic Park 3. But either way, the whole thing is like, it was only good when Spielberg did it, right? So then they do World. It's guaranteed to be a moneymaker. It's the era of reboots. I get it. It made sense. It made ungodly sums of money. So the sequels were inevitable. Okay. But now we're rebooting a sequel trilogy that just ended. The other one came out this decade. This accelerated timeline shit, the fact that there's 2 Suicide Squad movies is insane. There shouldn't be one. But we felt the need to reboot them. Like, it was bad. There used to just be a bad movie, and then that was it. And then that's the reason to not try it again. That was bad. But no, let's do it again for no reason. Okay. Anyway, this is clearly just a cash grab, though. This isn't even a movie. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but everything about it is just so off. The pacing is weird. The characters just exist. And I don't know how to do this other than to put it up against F1. F1 just came out. F1, Jerry Bruckheimer is in every way a classic blockbuster in terms of structure, storytelling, character introduction, development, backstory, all of it. Everything about it. This movie could have come out in 1991, and it would be shocking to nobody other than the modern aspect of it, which is insane technology, to where we're filming race cars at 200 plus miles per hour, real speeds, doing crazy stunts. You could not have done this well at any other point in time. So it merges the worlds together. It does something, and it uses a traditional story. And what's beautiful about older movies is they throw you in, and they don't bash you over the head with too much, but you slowly learn about the people that you're being introduced to in subtle ways, sometimes in clear exposition, but at least the exposition is like part of written into the story. Oh, these two people have to get on a boat. They're new to each other, or we're going to learn that they've already met each other. But now they're on this boat and they have to do something, and they're doing it together. I'm making this up. And during this task, blah, 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 comes up, and they wind you down into story mode, and you learn a little bit of backstory about the people or whatever. This movie, F1, doesn't do the thing where Brad Pitt just stands there and he goes, yeah, and in 1975, I had a terrible accident, and so I was never able to race again. What they instead do is build that throughout the entire movie. And they give you little pieces, and you're like, something's going, clearly, okay, so something is going on with this guy. What exactly is going on with this guy? How bad was this incident? Is it really that bad? And then it's worse than you ever would have thought. And it's good. And we didn't know him at all, and we're learning about him the whole time. They're painting the picture as the movie goes, as he interacts with various characters, many of which he's meeting for the first time, which is a convenient way for things like that to happen. There's like a cheesy little romantic element, but it doesn't put too much weight on the story. Like, it doesn't go full Days of Thunder where there's like side plots about these characters that don't matter. They understand racing. This movie is racing. We have to have a story because it's a movie, but we will do that as efficiently as possible. They add little elements here and there. Here's a little romance. Oh, here's a little villain guy who adds a little more juice on top of the story. It doesn't really need it, but we're just going to have a little something extra happen here. And it doesn't take 15 minutes. It happens in like 2 quick conversations, so it's fine. You don't need to cut it because it's not really bloat. It's just, here's another little thing. Because ultimately the stakes of the movie are they just would like to win one race, and if they don't, the team will disband. That doesn't really matter for Brad Pitt because he's joining the team in a desperate move. He wants to win one race, period, because he was supposed to be a phenom and was in a terrible accident. And then he's also going against his teammate, which they also do a good job of babying you into F1. But again, they don't bash you over the head. There's not a text scroll. There's not some announcer who over-explains something, which an announcer would not do if you've ever watched a sporting event. You know, it's called storytelling. Like, that's all I'm really explaining. Basic storytelling. And they accomplish it to an extreme feat. It is efficient. It is clean. I'm never bored for 1 second in this entire movie. It was actually I thought to myself, wow, I'm really engaged in this movie. So I guess not too engaged because I was able to come out of it to that degree. But I was just aware of like, wow, I'm just captivated by this. And that's the whole thing. That is what is supposed to be happening every time you sit in the fucking seat. But no. Universal just goes, if we put dinosaurs on, people come. Just do whatever. Like, I don't know what the thought process even could have been. I don't know how this made it through a test screening, which apparently altered what happened in F1. I believe that there was like, anyway, I'm not going to speculate on that because I could be way off. But I think that was a thing. Anyway, they didn't do anything different, innovative. There is nothing original to the story, and nothing about this story adds to anything within the greater Jurassic Park thing. Is this supposed to just be a one-off movie? Because it kind of has that vibe, but they definitely leave the door open for sequels. But I don't know why there would be a sequel. There's not a character in the movie. I mean, maybe there's one or two. I'll explain. But this movie is like if they made a Rogue One for the prequel trilogy. And I just mean that in the nobody likes it situation, because obviously, Jurassic World is after the fact. But this is like making a Rogue One for Jurassic World. Not a prequel to Jurassic Park, which could be interesting. Which I don't know if one of the worlds is that. I don't imagine it is. But anyway. They just decided to do... This is like slightly before some of the events in Jurassic World. Okay. I guess. And they kind of shoot you right off into something, and you're like, oh, cool, we're going to be in Jurassic World. That's fast. But then they're just on a boat for about 35 minutes. And that's when you learn through... Again, this is exactly what I'm talking about. All of the dialogue is just pure exposition when they're on this boat. Somebody just goes, Scarlett Johansson, what do you do? You're a mercenary? And she's like, I do some stuff. And he's like, aha, so you are a mercenary. It's like, okay, I guess she's a mercenary. Even though the whole time she's just like kind of charming, only talks a little bit, and then is like ready when something happens, but never at any point like exhibits any type of expertise. Like they don't really seem ready for any type of like real mission. Nobody discusses any type of plan. Everybody just seems to know exactly where to go really quickly, right away, despite being on an abandoned island full of dinosaurs. But anyway, we're not even at the island yet. And then Mahershala Ali is like the guy driving the boat. And they did a like witty like introduction thing where it was like a scam on the guy hiring them for more money, and he's just like a pharmaceutical guy. They're going there to get like certain dinosaurs' blood, who conveniently all are living in the same area of the island for like heart medicine, and they're going to make billions, whatever. So they're like, we'll pay you whatever to go do this. And they're kind of doing like a we're getting the gang together ragtag montage thing, but then they're kind of not. They just pick up Mahershala Ali. There's like one little joke, and then it goes on for a little bit longer, and then we're just on the boat. And it's like, oh, well, that was quick. And then she's a mercenary, and then the other guy's a doctor, and nobody cares about dinosaurs. The interest has faded, blah, 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 blah. So he wants to go see a real one, whatever. Then Scarlett Johansson goes, Mahershala Ali, we go back from this specific time, and what is your current situation with your wife? And then he is like, after our son passed away, we could not do that, so I am now alone, and I am sad, but we needed it. And it's like, oh, okay. And he's like, I care about children. And then they make that very clear pretty soon, because there's some random father and two daughters, and the older daughter's boyfriend are just sailing across the ocean. They get like roughed up by some sea dinosaur, and the mercenary pharmaceutical crew picks them up. And Mahershala Ali's like, you gotta take better care of your kids. And she's like, I'm sorry, I didn't even mean it like that. Anyway, and then Scarlett Johansson is just like, stop it. This isn't about their kids. And it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, he cares about his kid because his kid died. We get it. Hammer home the one thing you're going to tell us about these people as people. That none of them ever have any personalities outside of just like cracking little jokes that aren't funny really at all. You don't learn anything about anybody outside of like 4 or 5 seconds at a time. 3 guys just die right away. There's no like, they try to have this like beautiful moment with the dinosaurs later on. It's completely unearned, and then it's just like over. They literally just show up. They don't do any of the, like the science guy is never like that. I mean, he is, but they don't slow down around the dinosaurs. They spend all their time on like boats having nonsense dialogue. And the dad doesn't really know how he feels about the boyfriend because he's kind of lazy. Okay. But do we care? No. Because there's never a moment where anybody's just showing their personality. Everybody's just explaining like what their character's situation is. That's it. That's all the dialogue is. That's all you learn about the people. You never they never are anybody. They're just like, this is my archetype. Okay. And that's literally it. And then they just go from one dinosaur to the other. A couple people just get killed. They kind of care about it for a second sometimes. And then they just go to the next one. And they just keep going to the next one. And then whenever there's like kind of high stakes, they just kind of get away pretty quick. It all just works out. There's never like a feeling of any stakes or intensity or anything at any time. They just kind of like crush the mission. And then the bad guy from the pharmaceutical company gets killed. And then they're like, we're going to give the medicine to the people. Which like doesn't make any sense. Like there's a scene where she like the doctor's like, don't you ever think about what we could do if we didn't take the money and we just took this for ourselves? And she's like, no, I kind of just want the money, whatever. And then they like slowly kind of build like somewhat of a connection, but you never really feel like that's earned either. And then all of a sudden at the end, she's like, we should do it for good. But anyway, which is unearned, like just through like, they talk about it like twice. And then she's like, I've changed my mind. Nobody has any real interactions this whole time. And that's it. Like the daughter almost gets killed with a T-Rex from the family. That scene's like pretty good, but it's all just too... There's just, I can't explain it. It's just so soulless. And it feels like there's not, the whole first half of the movie is just a waste of time. And then they just breeze through all the dinosaur stuff. And some of it looks great and they do really good. Like it comes out of the shadow stuff. The homage to the original is bad every time. There's a few of them. They do the like breath on the window thing, and it just doesn't have the same impact. They just like rush right through it. There's no intent. Again, it's just, there's never feels like there's any stakes outside of like one moment maybe. And it's not enough to take you out of it. None of it is ever that exciting or cool or anything. Really just a huge bummer. Anyway, he goes, yeah, you just open source it. You give it to everybody. So you're saying like online, you're going to be like, here's how to synthesize this medicine. And then who's going to do it? It's just some guy at home just going to figure out how to do that. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm being silly and naive to how that would work, but never made any medicine in my life. Don't think I would be able to start or dose it properly or do anything properly. It's kind of like a pretty need to know situation with that type of stuff. Anyway, and then just like a pharmaceutical company, all of them would just begin to manufacture it. And then I guess like, sure, it being non-exclusive would technically make it less expensive, but I didn't even understand the logic. And then they're just like, yeah, that's what we'll do. Happy ending. There's like, they've decided on the boat they're going to open source it. Even though the money is still for the other people in there who didn't necessarily agree to that. I think just Mahershala is gone, whatever. Anyway, yeah, he tries to like sacrifice himself, and the dinosaur's just moving so slow. It seems like he could just get away. And then he does get away, but they make it seem like he died. They're just like, oh, whatever. Again, I just have no attachment to these people for any reason. Any one of them could have died. It wouldn't have really mattered. The doctor's the only guy you kind of learn about the whole time. I guess he was the one guy where I was like, oh, shit, they killed him off? No. He fell like 2,000 feet off a cliff, and he was fine. You know how you just fall through some trees. Not like trees are made out of wood and needles and shit. Every movie just thinks like, oh yeah, you just fall through the trees. They'll break your fall. It's like you'll break your back breaking a tree with your body. But no, that doesn't happen. Another Jurassic Park like strives for realism or anything, I guess. Just absurd though. Just completely absurd. So that was really disappointing. And, you know, I wanted to come on here and talk about F1 as well. That's why I tried to weave it in somehow. The juxtaposition between the two blockbusters, though, is astounding. Like, oh, surprise, an original movie's good. But here's the thing. It's like I said, it basically just is Days of Thunder without, like, cocaine bloat. Like, the hindsight of, like, let's just, like, streamline this a little bit. And it's a completely vintage structure. It's the most generic story. Old guy versus the young guy. That's about it. Got to win the big race. Like that's the whole thing. There's tropes within it. You know, Brad Pitt, the guy who never made it, one last shot at the big time, all this type of stuff. But who cares? I wasn't like, this is a wholly original thing. It's the same thing Joseph Kosinski with his last movie, Top Gun 2. I'm like, yeah, this is just Top Gun again. But guess what? Top Gun rips. And this is like, again, leaner, more efficient. Cut the fat off. It's fucking awesome. I mean, and then they're just like, but we just want to do Jurassic Park. People like the dinosaurs. It's like, okay. But you could have just like remade Jurassic Park effectively and just called it something else. You know what I mean? Like they did it. I don't know. I guess I'm not saying that it's necessarily easy to like replicate a great movie from the past, but when you're already using Jurassic Park as the thing, like, why just put weird homages that are oddly paced in the middle of an oddly paced, uneven mess when you could just like try to do what you did for Jurassic World, which obviously fell off a cliff, but still, like, the structure is there for you to just weave some things in. Oh, we'll kill off a character, blah, blah, blah. We'll introduce a new dinosaur threat. Like, I don't even know. You know, there's a tunneling system underneath the thing. What could happen there? And then, like, one of the dinosaurs follows them down, and the Scarlett Johansson is just like, I got it. Boom, boom, boom. Like, you're ruining all your opportunities at, like, suspense here. Maybe it's more of, like, a slasher thing, and people just disappear one by one all of a sudden. And, like, whenever there are kills, it's not like there's any gore or anything for the most part. You know, they just kind of grab them and leave. And some dinosaurs, they just kind of walk right by them. And it's all just so... Like, all the moments where there should be tension, there's not. And all the moments where they try to have tension, it doesn't work. Like, genuinely, I saw it yesterday. And the day after, as I talk about it, like, I'm more and more upset than I was as I was watching it. Because in a theater, at the very least, there's still at least, like, some of the spectacle. Because, like, the effects themselves were decent. Just, you know, not just boring, I guess. And the one dinosaur emerging from like a shadowy leaf towards the end thing, that to me was the most impressive, and it really was just like a Spielbergian thing anyway. So I guess that kind of proves my point a little bit there. Like, play the hits. That's what this is anyway. You're cash grabbing anyway. So, like, unless you're going to try to do something original, copy more. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't know what the point of this was, who it was for. It was truly just an atrocious movie. And it didn't feel like it was necessarily like, oh, this is just a setup for a part 2 either. They tried to make it a self-contained story, and it was just awful. I think what could have been more interesting is, like, there's heavy security because this is a closed off thing. So we have to kind of go in covert and avoid security. And this is almost like a heist movie. We're like stealing this blood. But they're literally just like, no, it's just completely abandoned. Nobody's watching this at all. So they literally just show up and just do whatever they want. And it's pretty easy. Like I'm saying, like, it could have been cool to make this more of a thriller in that way. Or like, there's a heist and there's a plan. Why are we hiring mercenaries to do this? Most of them died. And they didn't really seem to have any type of plan at all. So they were just like, we are the defense. I just don't get it. It was rough. It was really rough. But shout out to F1. It was excellent. And I'm really hopeful for the Kaczynski, Tom Cruise, Days of Thunder F1 merge sequel. That would be fucking amazing. So I really hope that happens. Shout out Joseph Kaczynski. Do not shout out Jurassic. I don't think I'm going to see Superman, to be honest. Even though the reviews are good, which is surprising to me, I'm still just not interested. Superman just really doesn't do it for me. Oh, the guy that's invincible in every way. Cool. And it's like, yeah, but there's like drama. It's like, all right. I get it. Ultimately, it's a moot point because they all always win in the end anyway. But, I just don't care. And everybody just slurping James Gunn. Yeah, Guardians is fun and well made. But, we're acting like it's fucking Scorsese or something. He makes fun stuff. That's cool. That's very cool. But, I mean, somebody go to bat for Kaczynski the way you're going to bat for James Gunn. Like, the guy's fine. Good for him. He managed to make not dog shit in a sea of dog shit. There is something to be said for that, but, come on. We're going to give the guy a fucking honorary Academy Award already or something? I don't know. I just need something to rant about at the end there. I have no beef. I think I'm going to see I Don't Know What You Did Last Summer. I think that'll be coming. I don't know if that'll be worthy, but maybe I'll do it up against the OG. We'll do a little double feature. Kind of like that idea. There's more stuff coming. I just can't think of it off the top of my head. I'm really just super geared up for one battle after another. That's what I'm looking forward to more than anything else. And yeah, it's dog days of summer. NFL training camp hasn't even begun. There's just a whole lot of nothing right now, ladies and gentlemen. So go to the movies. Really don't see Jurassic World for your own benefit. I mean, even if you really want to, I'm telling you, like, I just don't know how that'll be appealing. Like, truly, it's bad. So, I think I'm going to get out of here on that. Thank you for tuning in. If you're sticking with me still, I appreciate you. Maybe this will be my year. Maybe the 1 year when I care the least, it'll somehow blow up somehow. But, in the event that that impossible thing doesn't happen, which it won't, share, rate, review, and subscribe. Pass the word along to some people that some guy is talking. And just give me one sponsor. Like, if I got to the level where I could just get one sponsor, just a little bit of extra cash. I just want the cash. Don't you get it? All right. Thanks for tuning in. Rate, review, subscribe. Check out all the links in the description below. I will be back on a Tuesday soon. That is as much as I can commit to. We'll see. All right. Don't forget, I are fat. You are fat. We are fat. Calculator.